Hello everyone, students, mentors and everyone listening. I'm Sujata and I'm here today not just as someone who leads this organization, but as a person who believes there's something profound in the stories we don't always tell. Welcome to Meet the Mentor, a series that's been on my mind for a while now. A chance to sit down with the people who guide you, our students, and explore who they really are. This isn't about resumes or titles. It's about the human behind the mentor, their struggles, their dreams, the quiet moments that shape them into the people they are today. We're going to talk to them one by one and peel back the layers. What drove them to this point? What keeps them up at night? What's the story they have never shared? The one that might just change how you see them or even how you see yourself. I've always thought there's something powerful in getting to know someone beyond the surface. And our mentors aren't just here to teach, they are here to inspire, to show you what's possible. And they've got lives full of texture. The time they failed and got back, the odd passion they chase when no one's watching, the unspoken tale of why they care so much about what they do, about you. Maybe the mentor who once doubted they'd even make it, or the one who found strength in something you'd never guess. These conversations are about bringing that out, raw, real, unfiltered. For you, our students, this is a window into their world. You will hear them think aloud, laugh, maybe pause as they dig into something personal. And my hope is that you will find something in their journeys, a spark, a lesson, a connection that sticks with you. Because education isn't about facts, it's about people, about understanding what it means to wrestle with life and still show up for others. To our mentors, thank you for letting us in. To our students and all those who are watching, get ready to listen, to feel, to discover. This Meet the Mentor is a space for stories that don't usually get told. And right now, we are diving in because real magic starts when you hit play. Watch us. All right, so welcome to another episode of Meet Your Mentor podcast. And today we are here chatting with R. Shiv Kumar. प्यार से हम उन्हें शिवकू कहते हैं. So welcome Shivku.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shivku is a mentor who believes in the power of simplicity, honesty and clear communication. A free spirit at heart, he values intuition over logic and is a natural listener, always there to offer advice and genuine advice. So Shivku admires Shashi Tharoor, is what we know, and enjoys historical fiction like The Exodus and The Hajj. His role models are many, starting from his father, a lot of family and friends, and sports legend Pullela Gopichand. IIT Madras, and I'm Calcutta. Shivku is very multifaceted, so don't go by his appearance, and he may share less today. We'll dig out more and more. But from baddie to photography, he watches a lot of movies also, and he has a dream of doing that global road trip. So very exciting person. Shivku's life is an adventure of simplicity and learning. So if we want to know what drives him and all this and more and his unique perspective, let's listen straight from Shivku. So welcome Shivku to this show.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll have a great time.
Right. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. And so Shivku, how did your journey in this education space begin?
Okay, I would say it is serendipity.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've always found academics enjoyable,
Right.
right? Not that I put too much of effort in my, I mean, I didn't do a PhD or anything after engineering, but I've always found thought of uh, getting into research, doing academics very exciting. So at one point in time, when I passed out of my college at IIM, I said, okay, at some point in time, I'll go back, do a little bit of PhD,
Right.
become a prof in a college. That was, and this idea of a Jolawala Baba, right, in a school uh, lost in the wild, right, and being surrounded by kids, that has always been a very romantic thought that I had.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
You know, the leftist Jolawala Baba types. But it was just a thought. I mean, it always inspired me to watch movies and situations like that.
Right.
Then I was working in Mumbai. I was in the ad agency called HTA now. Then it became J. Walter Thompson. I don't know what it's called now. Satya is known to me. So I've always shared with Satya that at some point in time I'll get into academics.
You want to teach?
Yeah, I want to become. So I remember the first day I joined J. Walter Thompson. Satya called me and said, we are starting our classroom sessions.
Right.
Why don't you come over? I said, I've just joined. This is my first day. Let me give it a little bit of, let me spend a little time here, figure out, is this what I want to do? I mean, if I enjoy it, it's a different story. If I don't like it, maybe I'll consider it.
Sure.
And then I think 4 or 5 months down the line, I was not enjoying what I was doing. Right? It was not the intellectual work that I thought advertising would give me.
Right.
And I am not somebody who had great social skills to flourish in that space.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, I think it's a time now to say goodbye to this and look at doing some postgraduate or post MBA program somewhere in the US.
Right.
So I was thinking of doing some research, marketing. Marketing was one space I enjoyed. I thought it was a very creative space. So I was thinking of going abroad, taking my GMAT, going abroad, studying, becoming a prof, right? Then in Delhi, one of my batchmates from IIT was getting married.
Right.
So I kind of came to attend his marriage. And then, so at that time, I remember GP, Satya, these are the only guys teaching. So I generally went and attended GP's class. तो सोच में ये था कि I think this is a makeshift stopgap thing. Let me spend a little time here. It will also give me some amount of teaching experience. And then probably after a year or so, I'll go abroad. But I think I got into it. So I thought I enjoyed what was happening in the class. Right? So I thought it might be a good thing to actually try it out. Though I was not thinking long term.
Right.
कि टेस्ट प्रेप इंडस्ट्री में रुकना है राइट मुझे
You just said let me experience it.
Because I was somebody who felt that tuitions was not something that you should do because I've never done that in my life. And so I said कि इसकी क्या ज़रूरत है? Then I kind of decided that okay, I will give it a shot. Went back home. I went back to Mumbai and put in my papers. I told my boss that I'm going. He said, are you an idiot? Right? CL that time was, I think the turnover was about 10.5 lakhs or 12 lakhs or something like that. He said कि तुम्हारा salary जितना है,
that's the turnover.
उसका 6 times is the turnover of the company. And he was an IMB guy. Right? I told him कि for me this is not a risk. I think this is on my journey, this is a stop.
Wow.
Right? So it's a big deal. It's no big deal for me to think that there's a risk, right? I wasn't thinking very far ahead in my life in terms of career. So I put in my papers, served notice, and then I think post Diwali I kind of joined. And my darkest days happened in the first few. So this is my start. Okay, starting to see.
You just stopped working for an ad agency and came and jumped in.
I stopped working for ad agency and then completely kind of joined
here.
And in the early phases I had a lot of my teachers were GP and Satya.
Okay.
Right? So because I was not a guy who was you would say very comfortable in going into the public and speaking and all that.
Facing the students and...
Though it's a very ironical thing. I wanted to become a teacher, but I was not very comfortable standing in front of people.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I think that the initial bit was I think that initial phase of my career in CL made a big difference to me as a person.
Right. It tried you a lot. It tested you a lot.
Tested me a lot. I was able to break a lot of
barriers,
imagery that I carried about myself.
Right.
And I think so. To me, it's been so when somebody says CL career and all that, I think to me CL is what it has made me as a person today.
So it's your learning journey.
Yeah, it's been my learning journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you did touch upon, so Shivku, from there to now, it's been a long journey. I know many students who worship you. I have seen you speak with students, and I wonder sometimes, are they your friends or are they your mentees? And it's a very thin line.
Absolutely.
But you very beautifully interact with them in a very simple way.
Yeah.
You are an inspiration to many, and we'll talk about that in more detail. But who's been your biggest inspiration, role model in your life? You can cut across various phases of your life. And who's been your biggest?
So if I look at my early childhood, I think there were a few of my cousins who were my role models.
Role models, right.
Right. One of my cousins, he's no more, but he was I think AR 7 or 8 in Chartered Accountancy exam at that point in time. And I think a lot of things that he used to say was words of wisdom to me. Right. And so in terms of what the career, in terms of your attitude towards excelling in your career, he's one big role model for me.
He's left a lot of impression on you.
A lot of impressions. I think I remember he telling me, when he asking me while I was preparing for JEE, he asked me one day, what do you think are your chances of getting in? I said, maybe, I think I will make it, but I'm not sure how good a rank it would be. He said, don't think about it. He says, it's an assumption that people make success because of intelligence.
Right.
He was telling his own example. He says, maybe there are a lot of people who are better than me, but the amount of effort that I put in, I don't think many people would have done as much as I did.
Valuable.
So he says, focus on effort. So that's something, it's a very cliched thing that we hear from so many people. But he was telling me, and at that point in time, I was in a very impressionable age. Right? And I thought it was a very good thing to hear.
Valid input.
Very good thing to hear. And I completely agree with him, right? The difference between making a very successful life and not successful, like in economics we say ceteris paribus, keep everything else constant. The only thing that makes a difference is
the effort and discipline.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
So that was my earliest. And I think subsequently some of my friends have been my idols.
Yes.
Right? And I met somebody in my grade 8, right? One of my friends. His attitude towards life was so contagious, right? I always felt, man, how could this guy take things so easy and still have the ability to manage
so many
stuff?
Things.
So I was a very uptight kid, right? Very not a easy with getting into crowds kind of guy. So he taught me how to take life easy. He said, in Telugu there is something like light tisko.
Light tisko.
Take it lightly. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Light tisko.
Light tisko. So, because otherwise I used to be serious about everything in life. He said, take it easy. I remember that creating a lot of, my mom used to say, everything you're taking light. So, but I feel that was you need to unshackle a few things in life. I think that was one.
Yeah.
Then there have been so many people. Idols. In CL, I think Satya was one.
Right.
Satya is one, and KK.
Right.
KK was our guru.
Right.
Um, the one thing about, I feel you have role models for
Stages and
different
phases.
things in life.
Right.
It's not like I have one role model,
Yeah.
right? One Shah Rukh Khan who is good for everything. No. I think for everything, so for example, the ability to deal with issues
Right.
head on.
Right.
I think that's one thing that I've learned from Satya.
Right.
Right? You've got to be very detached with outcomes or
Clinical about it.
you have to say what you have to say, and I think that's one great thing that has helped us stick together as a
Team.
so many people sticking together for 20 odd years, 25 years, because when it comes to dealing with conflicts, I think the best thing is say what is on your mind.
Right.
And I think KK was one such. KK was one guy who's made a huge difference in my life.
Right.
He was our, I would say, if I were to closest to a guru that I had, that was KK.
KK. I think he's a guru to many.
Yeah. So, when I met him, KK was probably 70, and I was a 26-year-old. And when you hear, Acha, I am Ahmedabad ka professor hai, has spent a lot of time in the corporate, but his ability to shift between the serious and not serious, to question things very objectively, right? I think that those are some of the things that I
learned from him.
So I still remember, and I think this has made a big difference to me personally, and also as a teacher. KK used to say, "Man is a meaning-making machine. You make meaning out of everything that is there." So as long as you're aware of this, I think if you're aware of it, there are a lot of things that you can easily sort out.
Right.
Otherwise, you're always going to be stuck. Why did that guy do this? Why did this guy do this? What is he thinking about? He says, ask them. The best way to know is to ask them.
Ask them. I think Elon Musk is solving all this by putting a chip in people's head.
I hope he succeeds. I really hope he succeeds.
Maybe the two of us can become his guinea pig in
Absolutely.
this.
I don't mind.
Yeah. So, Shivko, you touched upon, how people have shaped your thinking. I won't say life, of course, it takes over from there. But anyone in specific who's shaped your mentoring or teaching journey, and even that is evolving, right? From what I know of you a few years back to today, that's constantly evolving.
See, I loved maths.
Right.
I enjoyed maths, right? And I think, to me, the essence of teaching is your ability to make things as simple as possible, right?
Right.
And I've always believed that, even today I carry that philosophy. I don't want to teach everything to the kid.
Right.
No, I don't want to put that effort to make him like me, right? Or teach him everything. We call it spoon feeding and all that, right? I don't take effort to do that with students, because I believe as a teacher, you need to do one thing, that is to make the kid or give him the tools or ability to learn by himself.
So smart teaching.
I would say that the ability to keep questioning.
Right.
Right? How do I learn by myself? I will learn by myself only if I keep questioning, right? And the ability to read a text and understand that, I think that's a very big thing. So, sometimes you make things look very easy. I always tell students that when a teacher is teaching in the class, वहाँ पे तो drama हो रही है, Shah Rukh Khan,
correct,
right? And everything seems सब समझ में आ गया.
But
घर जाओ तो कुछ समझ में नहीं है. So that is one part of it. The other part of it is, how do I make kids learn by themselves? I would always say that intervention of a teacher is in the methodology that the teacher uses to make the kids ask himself. He or she must ask that questions. The ability to give those tools to ask the right questions so that they learn by themselves.
So self-learning. How do they enable themselves to learn more and more?
So one part of it is a teacher. The other part is obviously your cohort, your peer. I have learned a lot from my friends, from my students. So as long as, to me, the philosophy is, I'm not, uh, if I were to ask, whom did I ape, right? I think probably two teachers in my early childhood.
Okay.
One was my maths teacher. The first time I started enjoying maths, I always used to get maybe 99, 98 kind of stuff in maths. But I think I started understanding maths only in my grade 8. So I remember I met one teacher who taught me for 8th, 9th and 10th called Rasool sir.
Rasool sir. In
Right?
Hyderabad?
In Hyderabad. So Rasool sir, to me, I mean, I really loved his methodology, right? He would give something on the question and then he will just go around saying that you guys do it. And then he would discuss all the methods and definitely the methods that somebody has got wrong.
Right.
Not from the perspective of showing that this guy is wrong, got something wrong.
Learn
In
from
terms
it.
of telling others that, can you figure out what is wrong
Right.
there?
Learn from
Right?
it.
Rasool was one. The other one was a very clinical guy, right? Called Krishnamurti, who taught me 11th and 12th maths. And if I think I cracked JE without tuitions, that was because of Krishnamurti.
Wow.
Right? I still
So
feel that
cracked JEE without coaching.
tuitions, yeah.
Excellent.
So because my teacher in school or college, it is an intermediate college in AP. So in college, that guy was good enough to get me
Take you
across
through
to
this.
right, and he didn't do anything that is like high funda. He used to only basically get to, and he used to do one thing I remember, and when used to motivate students. If it was our last class, right in the day, he would kind of, we used to have this school bus. Our college was outside the campus. So to get a seat in the bus, right? He would say, if you finish this exercise, you can leave. You can leave early.
So you go and get your seat.
You can go. So it was such an innocuous thing to do, but the kind of way it pushed people is amazing, right? And in our section, right, we had and in our college at that time, right, I think we had two sections of PCM. In our section, JE fourth ranker was there. He didn't go for tuitions.
Okay.
JE 101 or 102, I don't remember. That is Pulela Rajshekhar, who is Pulela Gopichand's brother.
Okay.
There was a 300th ranker, there was a 400th ranker, so many of them. In a bunch of 50 guys, there were about 12 guys who had top, within the top 1500 ranks.
1500 ranks. Okay.
And I think a lot of them owe their success to Krishnamurti, I feel.
Right. And your point on peer learning, I think it makes a big difference because you learn a lot.
Yeah. So I think as a teacher, I'm sure I would have done some right things, but I always tried to make the students think by themselves. Whether I've been successful or not, students will know. So
I'm sure we are seeing
so
a
in
lot
some
of...
batches, I'm seen as a guy who's not a good teacher.
Yeah.
But I expect students कि तुम पढ़ो.
खुद से करो.
मैं
And
नहीं
a lot
पढ़ाऊंगा.
of students don't like it.
They don't like it. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they think that I'm teaching for the slightly
Elite.
elite guys.
Yeah. So Shifa, you've covered this, but mentorship as a term, you're a mentor, you've been a mentor, you're a teacher also. But mentorship, what does it mean to you?
I think it's in my own preparation, right? I prepared, took JE without a tuition. But one person I missed was a mentor.
Right.
Who would tell me, you've done this, move on, get to this. You're stuck here, move on, right? To me, a mentor is somebody who's unlocking the doors for you, right?
Nudging you,
right, into some path.
showing you.
Absolutely. So I feel, and also as a maybe sounding board for some ideas, some thoughts. Sometimes kids are also very troubled with non-academic things.
Right, a go-to person.
Go-to person whom you can trust. So if I go, he's not going to be judgmental about me.
Right.
And he's not going to give the gyan, the worldwide wisdom, but at least make me question myself. Because many a times the victory is in making the kid understand that he is the one who's
Who has
thought
to
about the
decide
way
and-
out.
Right.
Not somebody else came and gave him
Right.
gyan.
Right.
So my effort will always be that I'll keep asking questions.
So guiding to come out with
Yeah.
solutions.
So to me, that is mentorship. I don't want to say that I've got all the gyan of the world and I will give you the gyan. Please execute it. That's to me,
lovely.
that's
So maybe a nice time for you to share a memorable experience with one of your mentees, how you mentored the person to succeed, and a pivot story would be nice, but any story that
So I
strikes
think this story was, I think, happened very early in my life, and I keep mentioning this in a lot of my seminars. So this was, I think, 2000, year 2000. I just been into about year and a half into teaching, and so there's this visually handicapped kid called Pranav, right? So Pranav joined CL, or one of our students he brought
in
him,
Pranav.
and so I'm just wondering while I'm answering this question, was he my mentor or
Oh, such a beautiful thought,
or
Shivku.
was I his mentor? Right? I think it was both ways. Right?
Beautiful.
So Pranav came and no, the first thing that he said was one of the students, his friend was Pranav. So he said, "Ki Shivku, Pranav wants to join CL." We had an office in M Block Market in GK. So I was at the counseling desk that time. I said, "Okay, Pranav, tell me." So I didn't realize that he was visually blind because he didn't look that. But after a point in time, he told Shivku, I've been born congenitally blind. So I want to go to IIM Ahmedabad. Tell me what to do. This was his first statement. He said, I want to go to IIM Ahmedabad. Tell me what to do. And I was thinking, I'm such an idiot, right? I'm wondering, Acha, so at that point in time, my thing is, I was feeling so low with all my own thoughts, saying that, अच्छा ये बंदा तो blind है,
कैसे जाएगा?
कैसे जाएगा, कहाँ जाएगा? और बंदा आके कह रहा है कि मुझे अहमदाबाद जाना है, तुम बताओगे क्या करना है? It's not even कि मैं can I go or not, तुम बताओगे क्या करना है?
Confidence, decision.
So I think while guiding him, he didn't go finally to IMA, right? He went to IMI, Delhi. There are, I think, few mishaps that happened. I think, all the PWT things that you see today,
right,
is I think I can ascribe that to Pranav's case.
Right.
A long time back, right? They didn't have
any of this then.
Any of that. They wouldn't, he had a, university system has some extra timing that you give, right? Pranav didn't get any of that.
There was a recent movie around this also, if I remember. It's not Pranav's story. That it's another person with the PWD.
Okay.
So I'll share that with you. There is a movie they have made. It's a real life story. How they had to fight it out.
So I mean, IIM Lucknow said we will give you time, and on 2 days before it, they said we cannot.
Oh, they didn't shortlist him.
No, before the CAT exam, they were supposed to tell us that we will give you 50% extra time or whatever.
Because
they gave a verbal
commitment, but they didn't do it.
2 days before CAT, they said we can't, and I was so bugged with that.
Right.
So Pranav said, "अब तो ये हो गया, अब fight मार के क्या फायदा, कोई फायदा नहीं. I think we need to do it. We'll figure out what to do." So the way he took it was something I thought was amazing.
Right.
So with his verbal skills, I'm sure with the current kind of things, he would have cracked the exam had he given that extra 3 hours time, extra 1 hour time.
Right.
Which is the case now. You get extra
Braille. Or in a language which he understands. If they had even
not that. Braille, but they do give a reader.
Okay.
Reader is there, right? Because he's completely blind. They didn't have a system to give him Braille or anything.
Right.
But even if you have a reader, you need to give that extra time to, how can somebody do data interpretation
instantly? And that also you're not watching it. And maps if you have.
So I learned a lot while teaching him. So he was a mentor to me in terms of getting my patience right, getting my, when you're, I always, even today I refer, if somebody comes and tell me I cannot do it, I find it very tough, I can't find time to study, I'll say, boss, go to hell. Right? I have seen Pranav. Go to hell. All your benchmarks have to be below that.
Because you have had tall benchmarks from your students early
amazing. And he would, so while doing that to him, I learned how to teach in a simpler manner.
Right.
So which is why I'm saying I was obviously guiding him all through, but I used to go post my class, right? I was a bachelor then. I used to finish my class around 9:30. We used to have sessions at, whether it is CP or Masjid Mode, any place. I told Pranav, you'll have to change your body clock.
Right.
Right? He used to be the early morning guy. I said, early morning is out of question.
Okay.
So you'll have to get into a late morning. So I used to go after my classes, 10 o'clock, and then go on till about 12 o'clock, and then go back home.
Go back home. Lovely.
So I think I'm sure I did some things right.
I'm sure. And you're still in touch
and
with
I got a lot of things. I think the return on investment was very high for me.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And Shivko, as a co-author of CL's philosophy around academics, the way we deliver, in your own eyes, how is CL different, Career Launcher different from some of the other people in this field?
I think one of the things is right from the beginning. I think we have said that we want to demystify these exams.
Right.
And so create content, build pedagogies that are actually close to the exam. So sometimes you kind of make some things very, very tough,
right,
in order to, attract the crowd. Shake people out.
Yeah.
But we have always tried to keep it close, right? So that's one thing. I think closeness to the exam is something that we have already, right?
Realism.
Second is also the ability to look at exams from a logical perspective. You call it jugaad or whatever that GP does now, right? But the ability to logically look at exams, right? And problem solving. I think that's one thing that we have not given, you're not given a, for let's take the CAT exam, we're not given a JE kind of a twist to it, to making the paper look like JE, math JE. Whereas we're saying that this is all till class 10th. But how you think has changed. Right. So our ability to bring in logical ways of teaching, I think that's one thing that I think we do quite well. I feel our methodology is very efficient to making sure that the student gets there.
Right.
Because I personally don't believe, or I think neither GP or any of the early guys, right? We have never believed that you need tons and tons of material to crack the exam.
Right.
You need to get the right material to
crack the exam.
So we have never believed in the quantity, but of course I think markets sometimes push you to do it. But I believe that as a organization, right? The kid has come to you because he wants you to manage his time more efficiently.
Right.
Apart from also teaching and all of that. So you have to keep in mind, I mean, your ability to help the child or a student manage his time, I think is a critical thing.
Sure.
So we say that we will give you what it takes, just that enough so that you've got time to do a lot of other things.
So your experience is in a jeera goli or a small 100%. Capsule to the child.
100%. And it has to be the right jeera goli.
The right jeera goli, yeah. So I think what you said about exams closest to the real exam.
Correct.
Strategy close to life.
Absolutely.
Which is, you don't have to climb up if you can get a flight and go there.
Correct.
And keep it very simple and crisp format based on the experience.
Yeah, because the time is limited. If a kid comes to you and has just got one year, he's got only 1200 hours. I'm assuming even if he studies for 4 hours a day, right? Yeah. Which doesn't happen.
You can't ask him to churn the ocean.
Or 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
It depends on the course, obviously.
Right.
So he's got about 600 to 800 hours. You have to tell him that I will deliver what I have to do in 600, 800 hours.
And that's why the child has come to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. That takes me to, I know Career Launcher is an organization which had its core values right from day one. and I'm sure you were one of the people
Yeah.
who contributed to those core values called Ruhi. But when it comes to imparting values to the students, what are the key values you impart to the students?
So I think if I borrow from CL's core value itself, core values, we said it is not what we want to be, it is what we are. Right?
Absolutely.
When we kind of identify these are the values, right? So I feel there are two things. One is about openness. So openness, I believe, is so important as a student, and also I think as a teacher. If I'm open to learning, a lot of things fall into place.
Right.
So the openness is not about the verbal saying what I want to say. Right? That's also one part of it. But the ability to open your minds to learning something new.
Openness to receive.
Exactly. To me, that's
imbibe.
To me as a student, that is what I want you to learn.
Right.
You've not come here to repeat what you did in grade 8, 9 or 10.
Sure.
You've come here to learn something new.
Sure.
So until and unless you have an open mind to learn something, I think your effort is going to go waste.
Right.
And I have always found that people who make the transition to my old way of learning to my new way of learning,
they win.
They are the guys who actually. So openness, I feel, is. So I think it is central to a student. That, having said that, I think it's also important for teachers.
Right.
Because हमें कभी ऐसी नहीं लगना चाहिए कि हम पहुंच गए वहाँ पे.
Right. या जो 30 साल पहले बता रहे थे वही right method है.
And that's the beautiful thing about teaching, no? Every year you're meeting the latest
New
generation. So it keeps me young. It keeps me. I mean, I know. So what is the youngster of this era thinking?
Right.
So there are a lot of things you start questioning yourself. So I find today the amount of care a lot of people seem to be taking in fitness. I'm very amazed by that. I'm very excited to see that these guys are putting so much of effort to make sure they're living healthy.
Right.
So I think.
Or the environmental consciousness.
Absolutely.
A lot of these things.
Absolutely.
So Shivku, that brings me to the next logical, you can say question. Tech is evolving day in and day out, and I would consider our generation to be the one who's seen a whole lot of changes.
Absolutely.
So Star Wars, Star Trek, I think is going to be reality now. Okay, teleport, transport.
Yeah.
You click a button, food falls out. A lot of things. AI.
I hope I get to see teleportation.
I'm waiting for it too, Shivku. I'm waiting to say I want to go home now and I'm there at a click of a button and make my own call. But this technology brings with it a whole lot, and like anything, like any other thing, it's what you make out of it. Most of the drugs can be harmful if misused. So in your own life, with Alexa now being passé to Groks and Perplexity, and I don't know which new thing has come out this morning, all this coming in, how have you used technology to evolve in your mentorship journey or teaching journey? Personally, how have you dealt with it?
I think we have, I think there's still a long way to go. I see, right? But it's happened very, very organically in the processes that you have put in, right? And the students' learning styles also, they've changed. So whether it is, for example, if I talk about technology, right? One is, I think, from very early days, we have tried to create testing and all of things based on data.
Right.
I think that's one thing that we have had. Pick data, how you create the tests using the data. Instead of saying, oh, I think this is a tough question. It's not. You look at data and then decide whether it's a tough question or not.
Sure.
Right? So right from the beginning, as technology has evolved, we have tried to keep our testing and assessments far more objective by creating assessments that linked to the level of difficulty. So completely data driven.
Right.
So one is about technology. When I think technology, one is about data. The second is about your ability to deliver. How do you deliver in a different way? So I think we have done a lot of experimentation.
Yes.
CL, no? I think uh, in some cases we have been, I think, too early to the table, I would say. Right? I remember we delivering our JE program to Dubai using
through VSAT.
using VoIP programs,
VoIP, voice over,
which like Zoom-like platforms, way back in 2003.
Right. VoIP was very. It was.
So, and then Srini used to be there. Srini was there in Dubai at that time, and he used to be in the class to be a facilitator. He's not a physics teacher. He's not a maths teacher, but just a facilitator.
Right.
And classes used to happen from here.
This is VSAT.
Correct. During that time, people said, "Sir, why do you have to come to class? Can we do it from home?" We said, "Yeah, there are some sessions that you can do it from home." So people, this was happening in 2003.
Before the Zoom of today, you did it 20
Zoom
years
came
back.
almost 20 years back later.
Right.
And then we tried the VSAT. VSAT did not kick off too well, right? Where we used to have a studio at HCL office and did sessions from the HCL office.
Okay.
So there are a lot of experimentations that we have done, and the fact that during COVID too we could get on to the online platform so easily, almost effortlessly, was because we had done a fairly rigorous program right from 2017 onwards. Right. At least 3 years pre-COVID, our processes were quietly. So I feel technology, taking in technology, has been something that's happened very naturally, but I feel there are some places we still have a long way to go. Right? I think the way kids are learning through app has become something that is common. I think there are some places we have left a few gaps.
Do you think we can give 100 Shivkus to the students using the current day's technology?
I believe so. I think they are. I think the way kids are learning, and to me, it would have been. I keep thinking, had there been YouTube during my time, I wouldn't have got the rank that I got. I would have got rank much better than this.
Right.
Because you get mentors online.
Right.
You get great teachers online. Why Shivkus? They will probably find better than Shivkus. Right.
Right.
So the ability to have somebody sitting in Mumbai and being able to teach some in some Reva, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Time collapse, accessibility collapse. A lot of things have changed.
Absolutely.
So we have some things to thank COVID for.
100%.
People shouldn't catch me saying this, but
no. But I think the good thing is COVID has accelerated. I feel. I think if I look at CL was doing. People used to say, "Kaun online padega?" Right.
Right.
वो उससे पहले तो होता था ये questioning, right? And I feel
it's democratized a lot of things.
What COVID has done is they have made others catch up with CL.
CL. Wow. That's a nice statement to make. Right. So I think, you're giving me a chance now to ask you, if you rewound the clock and went back 20, 30 years in your life, what would this Shivku tell that young Shivku? What advice would you give yourself?
I would, if I go back, I think, one of the things was probably I would have given a lot more time to self.
Right.
So whether it is, I used to be a voracious reader.
Right.
The amount of reading that I do now is much less than what, you get stuck in operations.
Yeah.
So, that time that you need to give for yourself, I think you must set aside that, and there's no negotiation as far as it's completely non-negotiable.
You should just do it. Right? It's a zero tolerance activity.
Yeah. Whether it is traveling, whether it is, I used to love photography, right? Traveling, I wish I could have traveled a lot more.
Right.
That's one thing I would tell that Shivku was, tum ek mahina, whatever is your 30 days that you can take as a leave,
just get out.
Because I used to work 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. I used to be in the class.
But that's your dream also.
That was
a global travel.
to go
Yes,
travel. Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
Global drive.
Yeah, I'm
Drive.
100%.
But I can tell all of you one thing. You can ask Shivku anything about anything in the world and he will know little or more, but he will know about it. So that's my experience with Shivku. There's no topic in the world that Shivku won't know something about. And you can take me on this and dial in and speak to him and figure that out.
I like to explore a lot of stuff, whether it is politics, whether it is travel, geography.
Right.
There are too many things that I'm interested in. I don't have time to pursue all of them.
Your breadth and depth, at least mind boggles me. It is commendable.
But personally, I think I can be a lot more deeper.
Sure. I'm sure we all have aspirations. So, Shivku, what are those one or two hobbies? I'm sure your early reading is one of them that has helped you contribute more and more in your role as a mentor.
I think one is I feel reading is the main thing, and the breadth of the reading is something that helps me. Because now, let's take example when I was teaching. Right. I taught for JE also for a while. Right. I used to teach a little bit of physics. Right. Maths. Right. I always felt that, when you are an academic, especially when I find this industry at least in this industry, a little amusing that people only become experts in mathematics. In that they are experts in calculus. Right. Bloody, you have been teaching for 25 years, only calculus. Right. And you expect the kid to do mastery of chemistry, physics and maths. Everything in 1 year. In 1 year. Right? So, for me, that love for knowledge, even today I find very excited about going through economics. Right. So I have interest in lots of areas. Whether it is politics, I like to read up about politics, or at least today, thankfully, the podcasts help me catch up with this a lot more. So the width that I have of interest, I think it helps me connect with multiple things inside the class. Right. And with multiple types of students. So your breadth, your coverage increases. So you can talk to a kid who is doing psychology, you can talk to a kid who is doing... So they find it... I think that is the critical part of, I feel, mentorship, where I am not a maths teacher. Yeah, I don't look at myself as a maths teacher. I say that if I go into a math class, or if I go into an English class also, I should be able to talk sense. Sure. So I feel your ability to move from one subject to the other subject, that creates a lot of trust. I think that helps me. That helps me a lot as a teacher. Because whether it is parent or whether it is the student himself, they look up to people who they think they would like to ape. Right. So I've seen this when I was in the school in the school. I was managing it for 3 years. In Indore. To me, that is I think the best part of my teaching career. I think the amount of impact that you can do for kids in schools by virtue of being present there is unparalleled. Not as an administrator, but as a teacher or play with them in the game. Right? I used to go play sports with the guys. Let's play soccer. Not that I'm a good soccer guy. Right. Cricket khelta tha. They look forward to this. Yeah, they love people they can role model. Absolutely. Like you spoke about so many. 100%. So I think that connect is important. Absolutely. Yeah, beautiful. So Shivku, I'm sure you've had a lot of milestones and proud moments, or even funny moments. So have your pick. You want to share any memorable moment which you're proud of, or you find it very funny? I think, to me, the top of the thing happens to be, I felt really good the day Pranav got an admission to a college. Lovely. That to me still figures among the top. A lot of other cases have happened after that, I think, but a lot of them pale in comparison to me. Not that they're not good in themselves. Because after Pranav, we had so many people who had a lot of people with visual disabilities being a part of the CL programs. Every year we have one or two. But you had learnings below your belt. Yeah, so I think there is something that when somebody is visually disabled joins in Mumbai, you know what to tell them, how to
Right, you
handle
have
it,
learned,
right?
yeah.
So to me, that figures right on top. Uh, I think I have done a lot of experimentation with teaching, especially in schools.
Right.
Okay. I keep talking about how self-learning is an important part,
Right.
which to me is a very core of my philosophy.
Right.
Even at home,
Right.
I expect my kids to read and learn by themselves. I remember teaching physics for class 11th and 12th kids in Indore, and we had a bunch of about, I think about batch of 12 or 15. So I said, ki, I will introduce you to a professor called Walter Lewin.
Right. I've heard that from you before. Yes.
And I said, ki, I mean, why do you have to listen to me? I mean, I'm nobody when it comes to inspiring you with knowledge or something. But I can guide you. I can be a good guide for you, right? So I said कि मैं नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा आपको, आप वीडियोस देखोगे. मैं डाउनलोड सारा किया वीडियोस, and there used to be one room in Indore where we used to have this huge TV, right? And I used to kind of play initially I told them watch it at home, but they would always come back and say, sir, internet काम नहीं कर रहा, वो नहीं, right? Then I said कि physics period में ये देखेंगे, मैं आपके साथ बैठ जाता हूँ. And wherever there was places where they doubts or something, we used to discuss it. And over a period of time, they did the entire class 11th and 12th, I mean, class 11th maths all by themselves. In fact, I had to come back to Delhi after my class 11th, after teaching them class 11th. So, class 12th, I was not there, somebody else was taking, but they continued with that process. So, I remember one guy asking me, कि सर मुझे MIT में जाके physics पढ़ना हो, क्या करना चाहिए? To me, that and the fact that all these kids learned by themselves, they would never come back and say, teacher, teach nahi.
So learning is a process.
I think
you don't have to be a subject matter expert as long as you can dip into.
A good storyteller will make you learn.
Right.
That guy was an amazing storyteller, Walter Lewin. If you watch his videos, he's too crazy.
And you're a good mentor if you're able to find many Walters.
100%. And I think
enable
that's what technology has enabled today.
Yes.
MIT में जो maths physics पढ़ाते हैं, it is exactly what JEE is needed.
Right.
JEE probably will do a little more of problem solving,
yeah.
but conceptually it is all that
it's
is.
the same. Right.
So I have explored, as a student, I have explored a lot of these things before I went into teaching my physics classes in JEE.
Right.
And I think you have to share this technology with the kids.
Absolutely. You have to enable them,
100%.
in short.
And that anyway is happening now.
Yes.
That's what is happening.
They're self-enabled.
Yeah. So this is I think this is a second high in terms of my methodology.
Right.
And I trusting that you're not there to I'm not somebody who will feel happy that, oh, Shivku sir is great, right? उसने मस्त पढ़ाते हैं. I would rather be happy when saying, sir, आपने जो 2-3 methods दिखाया ना मुझे, I have been able to learn all by myself. Yeah. I'm
so
very...
in a way, you have to win the match. You don't have to score the maximum runs.
Correct.
So beautifully put, Shivku.
It's like Mike Brearley, no? Mike Brearley is supposedly one of the best captains.
Right.
But I don't remember of Mike Brearley's innings at all.
Absolutely. So you don't have to, it's not about scoring runs yourself, it's about ensuring your team wins.
Absolutely.
And here your team is the student. And I'm sure, Shivku, in all the things you've done so far, there would have been challenges. All of us go through a lot of small or big issues, but some challenges. So any that stand out? And of course, how you dealt with it?
I think as a at the workspace, I don't know. I mean, I've never seemed to be. I don't know. I'm just wondering. have I ever found myself being challenged or felt? I've had lots of failures, right? But
so, any defining moment in your life? Failure, unexpected, motivation, any moment that stands out in your personal life, working life?
I guess there are two. One is obviously getting into IIT was one, because I think it kind of set something, from at a psychological level, it rewired a few things.
Right.
Right. And being there with a lot of people, then you know how to handle issues, right? my dad passing away when I was in uh, first year of college, right? You know, that could have been a very pivotal moment. But I think somehow, when I look back and say, okay, that we also managed that very easily at home, right? In the sense that it was it was a shocker because nobody else was working, right? All of us were studying. My mom was a homemaker, but somehow, I always say, the world conspires to make things happen. It happened with me. I mean, one of my father's uh, colleagues, he said, now I'll get you a scholarship. Come, I will do this interview, right? So I managed my entire studies through
Through
scholarships.
scholarships.
So financially, I've never had the issue. So I
So these
maybe I've
are,
always had a happy life. I don't know what it is.
yeah, or you made it happy.
Yeah.
That's the way to
So
look at it.
so I feel one important thing that sometimes also skip is uh, my life partner. I think made a big difference because making
Right.
it easy in life, it can turn either way, right?
Right.
If your personal life is sorted, I think a
Then
lot of other
everything
things,
else falls
everything
in
else
place.
falls in place.
So if you get a good
Yeah. For example, I have
co-traveler.
traveled to so many places within CL, Delhi, then I went to Hyderabad, then went to Mumbai, then came back to Delhi, went to Bangalore, went to Indore. I don't think anybody has so many transfers in
Right. So
CL.
finding a
But
good
the ability to
co-traveler,
do that,
yeah,
because
I think
otherwise it
that
could have
is a
been
defining moment.
yeah, I think to me it's a
Very big
very big,
moment.
very big. Understated, but I think it's a very big moment.
Yeah. Understated because the mishaps didn't happen because of that.
Correct.
It was all controlled or handled
100, yes,
prior. So
absolutely.
having a good co-traveler, life
Absolutely.
partner,
So I think that
is
is
a
one.
big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. I think these are all learning. So while today we are doing Meet Your Mentor, it's not all about acads. It's a lot about life. And that's why we are talking all of this, if you're wondering why we are meandering. So just to clarify. Yeah, but Chipku, now coming back to class ke andar, any funniest classroom memory, anything?
I found it funny. I don't know students would have found it funny. I think this was my first year. First year, I think I've just finished one season. I was a 26-year-old. And then some student was 28 or 29. He had got a admission in some college. And I was taking this class in Balwantrai Mehta, right, Masjid Mode. So this guy was standing outside I was taking class. This guy came and said, "Hey," I forget the name of the student. He came inside the class. He touched my feet, right? I found it so funny. Everybody 27, 28-year-old touching my feet. I said, "तू क्या कर रहा है?"
हाँ, गुरु.
हाँ. He said, "Sir, मेरा हो गया. जहाँ जाना था वहाँ पे पहुँच गए. आपकी बदौलत." So to me, I was, it's a very funny thing for me because I almost burst out laughing. So otherwise, you know, uh, people used to. My first class was something. People would have found it funny. The students would have found it funny, and I keep saying this, right? How you evolve as a teacher, right? I was the first class that I took. GP comes and tells me very sheepishly, यार शिव को तो थोड़ा बोर्ड के पास ही मत खड़ा हो, थोड़ा move करो. Because he says that people came back and told him that it was almost as if I was clinging on to my lover, which is the whiteboard.
Stuck to the board.
Stuck to the board. So, but one thing is, so this is one very funny thing from the student's perspective. But the first one, I found it very hilarious that somebody who's a 20-year-old come and teach. But that's our culture.
That's the culture, yeah. And just for people who are watching and you feel that teaching is a boring profession, I can tell you it is not. Teachers are real life heroes. At least I have many teachers who are real life heroes. Absolutely. And you're seeing one right here. So Shivku, thoda student corner. Truth is always harsh. But what is the harshest truth about success? that you would want to land on the students who are watching us here, and they don't want to hear about it, but they need to deal with it?
I think there are, everybody I feel as a appropriate place that he or she can get into.
Right.
Right. So if everybody thinks that I'll get into IIM Ahmedabad, that's not going to happen.
Right.
So your discovery will happen if you stretch yourself as much as possible.
Right.
If you're only into dreaming, right? Dreams are good. I think it always sounds good to say, "Boss, follow your dreams." I think your dreams also should be sensible.
Right.
And there must be data to support that whatever you're dreaming is going to happen.
Right.
It's very difficult to land that truth among the kids.
Right. Or their parents.
Yeah, because my kid is the best in the world.
Right.
Or, sorry, if I try very hard, will I get there? Not necessarily.
Right.
To me, hard work is not the only thing. Hard work is necessary condition. It is not a sufficient
condition. Right. So have data enough to know what's your potential.
So your ability to accept the fact that I'll not go to IIM Ahmedabad, maybe I'll go to some other IIM. That's there. Or maybe some other good college.
Right.
You'll have to stretch yourself to get to a good college.
Right. Right. And what's that one life hack to level up for the students in life? How can they level up? That one Jeera Goli or silver bullet or life hack?
I think if you crack your ability to deal with temptations. That temptation could be anything. Waking up in the morning is rather than sleeping
late
or
into
waking up or substituting this time which is supposed to be meant on work with watching social media. I think it is all about temptation. If you can handle that temptation, I think you will crack it. There's one great philosophy that I believe, right, which I think is I found it very, very exciting when I heard it first time. I think this is some Gautam Buddha story or some, right? What is your, so if you have to deal with life, what are the three things that you need, right? I mean, one is the need to learn, right? You have got that appetite to learn as much as possible. The second is patience, because success is not going to come like this. You should wait.
Delayed gratification.
Sometimes you'll have to wait. You'll have to put in effort. I don't know when the egg will get fertilized, when it will come. You'll have to do what you have to do. This is the patience. The third part is the ability to deal with hunger.
Wow.
It says, I have only so much of needs and requirements, right? So I am willing to sacrifice today for tomorrow.
Right.
So if I have the patience to do that, so I feel this is the same thing with students, right? So it is. So if I were to look at the equivalence is wanting to learn. That is obviously understood. The second is the patience.
Right.
Right. You can't say, boys, I started today, I will have success today.
Right.
It's not going to happen that way. 3, I mean, you don't start your careers with a 45 lakh salary. You say, do you have the patience to handle your needs in the early phase to build your career later?
Sure.
You don't have to.
Are you willing to wait to eat that food?
Correct.
That salary later.
Everybody wants to have this
instant gratification.
This is not going to happen.
Lovely, lovely, Shivku. And we've grown up these proverbs, practice what you preach. So as mentors, as all of us, you can call it preaching, you can call it saying. We say a lot. What is that you do in your life? This is about that. So a daily habit of yours, routines or habit that helps you stay sharp and energetic for mentoring.
This also keeps changing for me. I'm basically a very lazy guy, right? So one is, I think one part of thing that I am very that I can say that I do it religiously is reflection.
Right.
I think I am able to reflect on things that I did okay, not did okay. So that's something that I feel being reflective helps you manage your feedbacks.
Right.
Right. So second is, I think, some physical activity, whether it is sport. I love to play, right? But if it is not playing, at least doing some physical activity, whether it is cycling, whether it is gymming or something. That's something, though the regularity is not there so much, but that's something that I keep trying.
Try and do.
Because
that's lovely.
To me, it's like somebody said, today's, I found it very interesting, right? The older generation thinks that by the time they hit 55, 60, it's a retirement age. But, you know, the general life expectancy today is about 80.
Absolutely.
So when you are at 55, you must say, okay, how am I going to deal with the next 25 years?
Correct.
What am I trying to learn new?
Right.
How do I stay relevant 25 years down the line?
Right. So that lifelong learning comes into play.
So that's something that trying to learn some new things.
Sure. So from your life experience, one input to the people who are watching, beyond acads, what is that one life lesson you would like to pass on?
So, I think acads is a very minor thing.
Right.
I feel for you to feel happy and successful, right? Your openness to learning things or accepting things that completely militates against your own view of life. You must be ready to say कि बॉस मैं जो ये सोचता हूँ वो बाकी लोग सोचते नहीं है. So I must be able to deal with it comfortably. Right? So the day that happens, I think when you're comfortable with that, I think a lot of things dissolve. Differences of opinions. These are the things that is going to bog you down throughout. कभी tension कहाँ से होती है when there is resistance? जो physics में कहते हैं कि resistance है तो tension है. Resistance नहीं है तो tension नहीं है. Similarly here, I think if you figure out how to resolve this resistance, and that normally is only yours, right? I think a lot of things you will be able to deal with anything. So I feel that's one hack.
You will.
And that's a lot of philosophical hack, but that's a hack that you'll have to.
So instead of saying tension nahi lene ka, you say resistance nahi karne ka. Then automatically tension goes away.
Tension goes away.
Right.
That's the fundamental thing about
don't hold on
physics.
to anything tight.
The moment you resist, tension builds up. Right. But people don't agree with me. It's okay, fine.
Yeah, that's
everybody
a very
has
good
a right to.
Yeah, good input. So before we end, Shivku, 3 words that you think your students will describe you in.
Serious. They would call me serious. Sir, I've heard this many times. Sir, कभी-कभी joke बता दिया करो.
कभी-कभी तो.
Serious is one. They will think that I am giving a very, very absolute 100%.
Right.
At least in the class, I don't want to waste their time.
Right.
And 3, ability to look at things in a very, very different way.
Right.
So
a different perspective.
Completely different perspective, right? Whether it is complex for them or simple for them is a different story. But I think that I think it comes through.
Thoda hatke.
So when you say ki, whether it is solving a problem or whether it is looking at your own, whether it is mentoring, anything.
Beautiful. So I enjoyed talking with you, Shivku. I think we speak almost every day, but this is a different, for me it was tough today because it's distilling a lot of things and avoiding the pitfall of knowing you. And I do hope all of you enjoyed Shivku's from the heart kind of talk today. He's always like this. So thank you so much, Shivku.
I think it's been good because I think this interview makes me think, I think I must go back and think again.
Right.
There are a lot of things that I would like to look back and say, this is actually pulled out a lot of questions that I would like to ask myself.
Right. And there are books around it. So rethinking is a part of our life.
Yeah,
We
I
should
think
do
so.
it all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.